The long list for Britain's Man Booker Prize for Fiction was announced last week. Some critics say it lacks diversity and a broad selection. Others have praised its support of independent publishers. Despite all, the prize is still one of the most prestigious literary awards there is.
When Marlon James won the Man Booker Prize last year, he became the first Jamaican writer to receive such a respected award. His indie publisher One World also managed to surpass press giants. This year's long list of 13 books includes 3 published by independent houses, including One World. The list released last week has big names like South African novelist J.M. Coetzee and US Pulitzer Prize winner Elizabeth Strout. Coetzee is the most favoured nominee and will become the first triple Booker winner if he takes home the prize. There's also a rare nomination for a crime thriller, Graham McRae Burnett's His Bloody Project. The Booker used to be open only to writers from Britain, Ireland and the Commonwealth, but that changed in 2014. All English-language authors can now become nominees. Most of the authors on this year's long list are from the UK. They number 6, while 5 come from the US. Canada and South Africa have 1 each. The shortlist of 6 finalists will be announced September the 13th, and the winner of the $65,000 prize will be named on October the 25th.
The Man Booker Prize 2016 has been announced, and to talk about it, I'm joined in the studio by literary critic Elif Bereketli. Hello, Elif. Can we begin by just talking about what the Man Booker Prize is and what it means historically?
Sure. Man Booker is a literary prize, as we all know, and it's awarded annually for original novels that is published in English language and also in the UK. And it's been given since 1969, but a big difference had taken place in 2002, where when the title sponsorship was given to Man Group, the investment group. So ever since then, it's been one of the richest literary prizes in the world. It's approximately £50,000 each year. And apart from that, I think something can be confusing about Man Booker Awards, so I want to note that down. There are different sorts of Man Booker Awards, so with the same name, but with slight differences. Man Booker Asia, Man Booker International. So this one we're going to be talking about today is the original Man Booker Prize that is given only to English language works.
Right. Well, the chair of judges says it was a good year. They say they had some healthy debate on who would win. What are your first impressions?
My first impression was that there were quite a few of American writers, so it was interesting. It was really interesting because I think in 2014 there was this debate when there was a change of rules in the awards. American writers were included in the awards as well, apart from British and Commonwealth countries. And I think it created a bit of a debate back then, people saying it would marginalise British writers. So now, looking at this year's long list, I can see those fears realising in a way. So that was really interesting, actually. Apart from that, I think it's nice that there are new writers, like 3 new writers coming with debut work. That's nice. Independent publishers are included, that's nice. But I think the most interesting debate was the diversity debate, as you mentioned as well. Because I think last year, half of the list was almost by people of colour, let's say, ethnic minorities. So this year, I think that diversity is not really celebrated, and it's noticeably lower, the amount of writers that are of colour.
I think there were only 4 writers.
3 writers, I think, but I'm not sure. Maybe it's 4. Yeah, so that is criticised a lot, I think. That was striking as well in the first glance.
Right. Do you think that's fair? Because as soon as it's announced, it's not possible to really critique. We haven't read the 150 books. So do you think it's possible to determine that?
It's a really nice question, because I think first it asks something about the nature of literary prizes, which is always debated. And I think frankly, I haven't read many of them. And I know that literary professionals, literary experts haven't read either, because it's impossible to read all of the nominated books, let alone the not nominated ones, so that you can judge whether these ones should be nominated or not. So I think it's the nature of literature itself. Who gets to get published? Who gets to get reviewed? Who gets to get longlisted, shortlisted, winning the award?
Right.
So that's like a long process. It includes lots of inequalities and dubiousness and problematic parts in itself. But for your diversity question, I really like that question as well, because I don't think the diversity issue, the diversity debate is about literature. It's not about literature. It's about the problematic cultural representational sphere. I think it asks questions. It doesn't ask any literary question, actually. It asks questions more like, are these people on this list instead of people of color because they're better in literature than us?
Right.
So it's like, we see these kind of questions raised in many cultural organizations, institutions, I think most lately the Oscars as well.
Right.
So I think it's not really about the art itself, it's about the representational sphere that is found problematic in those debates.
It's an issue that's definitely at the forefront these days.
Yeah.
So Elif, what does winning a Booker Prize mean for the writer?
I think it means...
Or for the book?
Yeah, it means everything in a way, because obviously you get £50,000 paid, and that's not a small thing for publishing industry, I reckon. And apart from that, I think as a winner, you're almost assured of international renown and success, and publicity as well, which is something that all writers, I think, would beg for. So I think it's important for both publishing industry, the publisher, the writer, the book, everything. It's one of the best titles that a writer can have in today's world, I guess.
Right. Elif Bereketli, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.